I'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, various boards and committees representing the town of Grafton will conduct their public meetings and hearings via remote participation. We will be following that guidance. If people need to speak, hopefully we've done well with just, being patient, waiting our turn. And I'll try to make it where I can see everybody. If I can see somebody wants to speak and raising a hand. Paul is going to be moderating the meeting, hosting the meeting. So if he sees a comment, if he sees a question, he can just jump right in and say, I believe there's a question or something. Please, if you're a guest, we don't have any guests at this point, they need to identify him or herself. I will call roll as throughout the meeting for wherever a vote is taken, including attendance. And Paul will also be able to share documents that have been forwarded to him. So if there are no other comments, we will get started. And let's see, I'll start with attendance. Jennifer Thomas. Well, I think everybody's muted. I can't hear anybody.
I unmuted.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just unmuted. Jen's still on mute.
Jen Thomas.
She's still muted.
She may have stepped away from her computer for a second.
Okay, we'll come back. John Stevens present. Kristen.
I'm here. I'm sorry,
Okay.
John, I'm here.
No
somebody
problem.
keeps trying to FaceTime,
That's okay. That's okay. I totally understand.
bumps me out. Okay.
Yeah, speaking of which, I need to turn off my phone so people don't ring it, make it do crazy things. Kristen Belanger.
Here.
Justin Wood.
Here.
Paul Scarlett.
Here.
Ken Holberger.
Here.
Jim Gallagher.
Here.
Sandy Brock.
Here.
Joanne Duncan is not here. I'll scratch that out. Brooke Paget is absent. And Ray Mead is not here at the moment. Okay. We will skip item 2, Whitney Park, and move on to the treasurer's report. I believe everybody should have the copy of the treasurer's report. I don't know, Paul, if you want to screen share it as well, just in case.
Was that amongst what Joanne sent me?
Actually, no, I sent it to you separately,
Which email address did you send it to?
to Captain Scarlett.
All right, I'm gonna have to forward it. All right, I'll look for it.
Okay, so in the meantime, if Ken, do you want to make any comments?
Have you got it up?
I found it. I have to forward it, so it'll take me a minute.
Computer is acting very, very strange right now.
Did hopefully everybody
And so
receive this? I don't know if everybody got it or not.
I guess I don't have a lot to say about it. I don't have it in front of me because I can't. My computer,
I'll have it open in a minute as soon as it
computer
comes
is
through.
randomly opening things that are not what I want it to open. So I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, we don't have a particularly lot of money. So
Here it is.
you got it?
Yeah, I'm opening it.
I don't recall receiving it for anything recently.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
don't have access to it. So you're
Justin,
gonna
I misspoke. I just sent it to Ken sent it to me. I sent it to Paul because
Okay.
Joanne isn't available to do it. And so this way Paul's sharing it.
Okay.
Okay,
I will-
You guys see it now?
yeah, flip to the next page.
Very
Okay,
small.
that's the end of fiscal 2021. And it shows everything that we, it shows all our revenue that we got, and it shows the carried over funds. And it shows the grants we made. It
Yes,
shows
it's a two-way.
there's a number of corrections we had to make in the last town meeting to fix some of the errors that were made prior, and they're shown in rows, but they're done with now. And so if you kind of zoom into the green section at the bottom.
Yep.
If you can do that.
Yeah, just give me a second. Is that better?
Yeah, that just sort of nets it all out. It shows that we ended the year with $450,000. We had revenue of 630, so that gave us $1 million to work with, and we granted most of that, ending with $268,000. And so if you flip to the next page, it gives you an inclination of what the previous page,
The prior, okay.
the prior page, yeah.
I'm going to zoom in on that too.
Yeah, it'll be, just go up one page. There we go. Go to the top.
Top.
So for revenue, we typically estimate 2.5% more than the prior year, and that's shown at $476,000. We don't really have any idea of what we're going to get for a state match, so I just threw in the same number we had from the prior year, and then interest. So it's going to be, $600,000 probably of new revenue added to what we left the year with. Then we have the 10% reserves. Oh, I don't know what. Nah, shoot. That looks like an old copy. That's bogus. All right, never mind. That's not the one that I finished with. That's sort of what I started with. Okay, let me see if I can call up on my computer what the number should be. All right, so the fiscal 2022, we're going to have about $650,000 worth of revenue. Now you have to just listen to what I'm saying because I haven't got it out there. The carried over funds, the ones that we didn't spend, are about $200,000. And so that's adding up to about 800. So before we spend anything, we're going to have about $880,000. So that's what we have to work with, including reserves. So that sounds pretty good. And if you take out the bond payments, then after the bond payments and the reserves, after the bond payments, we'll have about 650,000. So that's not too shabby.
It's a good amount.
And so I'm sorry that somehow I sent the wrong copy to John, but the
And
bottom line is that we have about $650,000 to work with, which is not a lot. And some of that is in the reserves.
just to ask it, Ken, is this 650,000 before or after any money gets returned to us, like from, for example, the affordable housing, if there is any money that returns?
If the housing money gets returned, that adds to this number.
Okay.
And that's it. So that was about, that would make a significant difference. Okay, so we're in okay shape. So I apologize.
sorry,
send
any
it-
other questions or comments? So actually, Ken, if you could send, if there's a different report, if you could
will.
send that to me and Joanne, and then when Joanne's feeling better, I'll try to send it out to everybody.
Okay. Yeah,
tonight.
I'm actually looking at it now. I don't know why when I did the copy to PDF, it didn't get the right one, so. Whatever, I will do that. As soon as the meeting's over, I'll send that out.
Okay, thanks. Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Guessing
Second.
everybody's on mute. I
Second,
have a second, a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Everybody's picture just went away. I'm guessing that was Justin.
Yes, it was.
Okay,
Just I'm going to be voting no on this, and I just wanted to say why. Because for me, not having the current copy in front of us, I don't feel like we should vote to accept it. That's just my opinion and belief,
That's
but
fair.
we'll see how that goes.
any further discussion? Does anyone else have a similar concern?
Justin, if he were able to share his screen and you could see it on the screen, would you accept it that way?
If I saw the current one on the screen, I would be willing to accept it. I still prefer in advance of the meeting to be able to review it in more detail, but I would accept it that way.
Well, you're really strict.
Ken, you want to forward it to me?
I'll say I'm about one vote. If everyone else is comfortable with it, I'll still vote the way I'm voting, and we can move forward. You don't have to go through a ton of hoops.
Able to send it because I found sometimes when I have Zoom running on my computer, it just acts really freaky, and it is
Okay.
acting
That's
freaky.
fine.
And so I'm really not able to send it to you.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. There is a concern that we didn't get the actual report. So if there are no other, and that's a motion on the table. So if there are no other comments, we'll go back to the original motion. All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report that
Roll
was
call.
given orally?
You gotta do a roll call, right?
Thank you. Get my list back. Jen Thomas,
aye.
John Stevens, aye. Kristen,
Aye.
Justin,
No.
Paul,
Aye.
Ken,
Aye.
Jim,
Gallagher, aye.
and Sandy.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried.
John, before you move on,
Yes.
Jen Anderson is on the call. Is she expected to be the meeting? Should I promote her to be able to talk?
I would put her on, yes, because that's Ray is going to be talking about Whitney Park playground, and that affects because of Perry Hill, the recreation. So
Okay, well,
She's-
she is now in and she's on mute, but she can talk at will.
she's a needed voice on that project. Okay, so that was the treasurer's report. Moving to the clerk's report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to indulge the committee and make a motion to accept the clerk's report.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the clerk's report from November 5th, 2020 meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions, comments, any discussion?
This is Sandy. I had one question. It looks like it's a typo. I actually read it.
Okay.
So basically it's just a what instead of a why. So when I read it, I didn't understand what it was saying. It is, I'm just bringing it up. I'll tell you what line it's on. It's on
Okay.
line 31. It
Okay.
says Justin stated he likes the idea. Jim agreed and asked what it would be, what it would not be called. It was something
Oh, why?
strange.
Why? Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it was.
Okay.
So I don't know if something's off. That's all. Other than that, I have no other comments.
Okay. I'm sure it was why, because that area, that neighborhood is called New England Village, but that park is called Whitney Park. So I think that's what that was. That would be a typo for why instead of the what.
Yep.
So I will make sure that Joanne gets that. So we have one correction. Thank you for that. Any others? Any other discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, starting with Jen Thomas,
Aye.
John Stevens, aye. Kristen,
I,
Justin Wood,
Aye.
Paul Scarlett,
Aye.
Ken Holberger,
Aye.
Jim Gallagher,
Gallagher, aye.
and Sandy Brock.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried unanimously.
John, one question. In
Yes.
Joanne's absence, I'm running the board, but is somebody taking minutes?
Because this is recorded,
Okay. All right. So you can get it from that one.
she actually
Gotcha.
she watches them
Okay.
to do the minutes.
Okay.
That must be part of the
good-
COVID.
Good point. Good point. Clerk support. Okay, project assignments. And we also were sent a list of all the projects that we have that are open. We do not have a member that is the point person for recreation, the ADA project, and for the rental assistance. Do I have any volunteers for either one of those?
what did you need for the ADA?
Basically, I think that's, I don't know, we'll do a report soon, but it's just that you're the point person. I'm sure you and Jen talk all the time anyway, but so that there's an official name by that project.
Okay,
Official. Okay, so let's see.
Kristen, you would just update the committee on the progress of that project.
right.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. So Kristen will do the recreation. How about the rental assistance?
That probably
Oh.
should be me, huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what I was gonna
Jen?
suggest as well.
I
Okay.
was hoping you'd
And
take one for the team, Jim.
Both of these, which is nice, are going to be winding up, at least the current warrant articles that are associated with them will be winding up quickly. So you'll probably only have to do one report at the next meeting. And then depending on the life of the project or how it moves forward, we may ask you to continue on with that. So thank you for that. Common restoration letter from Bill Yeomans. There was included in your email, a letter from Bill Yeomans to the Board of Selectmen dated November 20th. Actually, it wasn't. It was to William Nicholson, Chairman, and the Historic District Commission. And then it was copied to Peter Carlson, who's the Chairman of the Selectmen, and the temporary town administrator. Did everybody have a chance to review that letter? It's regarding ongoing concerns regarding planned walkway replacement from Bill Yeomans, 297 Providence Road in South Grafton. Justin, since you wanted this included or discussed, would you like to speak?
I probably would have. I just was re-reviewing the letter today, and for the life of me, could not remember what point I had to make for this committee.
Okay. All right. Well, if there aren't
Can
any,
you just, I'm sorry, can you
Yep.
just summarize it? Because I don't remember seeing that.
I think it's Bill Yeomans wrote the selectmen stating his continued concerns for putting in the new walks, the brick walkways, in light of the trees.
All right.
Yeah, and he was concerned about the maintenance costs that can't be done by CPA funds and things along that nature with regards to it. So
Paul, wasn't that addressed?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted because I don't know if Jen knows she can speak. I think she
No,
can.
I can, Paul. I lost you guys for a minute and you moved
Okay.
on to conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. So I'm sorry, you got to repeat that, guys. I was distracted. My apologies.
Wasn't that addressed?
What was, I missed the
The
prior.
walkway issue vis-a-vis the trees?
Yeah, within the project, I missed what,
Oh, Bill Yeoman, sorry. Bill Yeoman sent a letter back in November to the selectmen. He sent it to Bill Nicholson, sorry, copy the selectmen regarding the project with the sidewalks and how they could negatively impact the trees, and also the concern of using bricks rather than the blacktop. And I think Jim's question then was, hasn't this already been discussed?
yes, well, the brick was approved at town meeting. We said at the time that we were going to do our due diligence and hire a arborist to explore, how the trees would be impacted. We did get that input. We've been working with them. We've made adjustments to the original plan in order to allow for the least amount of impact to the trees. The town removed trees due to nothing to do with walkways going in, but because they were determined to be in not good health, and some of the larger ones were potential dangers if they should come down. And we did lose a tree over the winter. We actually lost two. We lost a very large one behind the bandstand and also an evergreen. Again, none of those are related to this project. So it is our hope that the project itself is not going to have any trees have to be removed by the steps that we've taken. And we are going to be hiring the same arborist that has helped us with our planning to be on site during the construction and to actually do, instead of just excavating, they do air spading. So they use air to move it so you don't damage roots. And there are special root barriers we're going to be putting in. We're actually making the path slightly less wide so that it will impact the trees less. And we're also replanting 6 trees that are appropriate for the common, historically appropriate. And I can give you the list of them. I don't have it in front of me right now, but they're maples, different varieties of maples, different varieties of oaks, and a blue spruce to replace the evergreen that came down. So yes, we have definitely addressed the concerns that were raised at town meeting. I don't think Bill Yeoman's letter brought up anything new. If anything, it was rehashing conversations that had already been had and town meeting had decided on, and we were moving forward. So we've done our due diligence and we're moving forward.
Thank you, Paul. Like John said, I was the one who had suggested we talk about this at this meeting. I wish I remembered the why, because at the time there was definitely something I felt was relevant to discuss, but I can't pick it out today. So
that letter was actually never sent to us by Mr. Yeomans. We did subsequently receive it several days later from the select board chair. And they did discuss the letter at a select board meeting. But,
And I will give you the list of trees that we're going to plant. These are from a consultant, an arborist, who recommended these trees as non-invasive species and that are indigenous to England, that are appropriate and that have nice fall color: red maple, sugar maple, red oak, black oak, and white oak. And then there'll be a conifer, otherwise known as a Christmas tree, to replace the Christmas tree that was lost when that big other tree fell this fall. Okay, so if there's any other comments or discussion on that letter from Bill Yeomans, we'll move on. The discussion for potential project proposals, that's kind of, I think, where Ray was going to come in. And I don't think he's available till 8, which is 7:30 right now. So we'll just move on to project updates and hopefully we'll pick up Ray at the end. Open space and recreation plan. Jen, I know, and I'll preface all of these reports because I know Joanne, there's been a lot of people out at the municipal center. She's had COVID for the last couple of weeks, so she's really been restricted on what she's been able to do. And so I think some of these in the minutes, she had reported she would be in touch with town staff. And so I'm going to say that we'll just circle back on several of these till the next meeting, since she's not been able to work. So open space.
I'm happy, John, to at least tell you about the OSRP meeting from this week, if you'd like.
Sure. Jen Anderson's going to give us an update.
So yeah, we met last night. One of the last pieces that the state was looking for from their conditional approval was for us to rank the objectives, part of the goals of the plan, and as well for us as we included timing. So we did that over 3 hours last evening, and the last piece of that will go to the CMR PC and sent off to the state, and hopefully we'll get the final stamp of approval.
Great. Do you think that's going to be within the next month or so?
I'm not sure. They wanted the land trust to look at it one more time. And I don't know how long it's going to take CMRPC to put everything together. So I don't know, about a month, but I would like to think in the next maybe 2 to 3.
Okay. So 2 to 3 months. And once this is done, it's just an approval by the state. It's not that you have to do anything additional other than what you've already done.
Right. Yeah, we had the conditional approval, so we're able to, apply for grants and such.
Okay.
There's typically a 5-year length of validity of this plan, and Chris Goldrick was going to confirm when that clock started ticking, if it was based, started at the conditional approval or it's going to be on the final.
Okay. Great. Okay. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Institute Woods Trail. I think that's one that Joanne was going to try to reach out to Chris. Town Records Archival Project. Paul, it seems like Candy is back. So, Paul, do you have any update on that?
Oh, you're still muted. Okay, you go.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, couldn't get to the button fast enough. I figured while Jen was out, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that they wouldn't be doing anything. I think they were pretty hard pressed to keep up with regular duties. I didn't know she was back. I'm sure this isn't the first thing on her priority list, though.
Sure.
So I'll follow up with her before the next meeting.
Yeah, no, I'd say, give her a whole month before. Because I know there's probably a backlog of things that she's got to tackle. Gravestones, again, out of season to do that. The Grafton Common Restoration. Paul, do you want to jump back in on that?
So, sure. So we've been making a lot of progress on that. As I said, we had to redo the plans in order to make adjustments to make sure that we were not going to impact the trees, or at least to limit the impact to as small an impact as potentially possible. We're basically done with that. We're just waiting for the final draft from the engineer. And the biggest piece of that is getting the piece back from the electrical engineer. Some of the changes required that he redo his work, and he's subcontracted out from Graves Engineering to do that work. The expectation is that next week we should have that final report, which we will then review And we will prepare an RFP with the goal of going out as early as we can in February with the RFP and getting a general contractor hired after an appropriate period of having it posted. It's usually, I think, about a 6-week process, maybe 6 to 8 weeks. So hopefully early spring, late winter timeframe, as we've been saying all along, we will be able to kick off that project.
Okay, and I'm sorry if you already said this, but part of our review was with the arborist that we're actually going to make the width of the sidewalk a foot. Is it a foot less?
Well, the existing walkway isn't one set size. It kind of varies. So it's from a little over 7 feet to about 7'8", I think, at its widest. But it's going to be consistently 7 feet when we
Okay.
finish the work.
Okay, thank you. The weights and measures, that project, it has been completed. I think we've discussed that it's at the municipal center. The historical resources inventory has been completed. We're just waiting, if the state hasn't already, to send the its match, which will go into CPC, back to CPC for that project. The Lions Club property, the engineering work
Yeah.
and the recreational improvements. Do you want to speak to both of those, Jim, together or separately?
No, well, I can just kind of wedge them together. The most significant thing is that Peter Adams has an email address. And if you know Peter, he doesn't even, he can't pick a computer out of a crowd. So that was pretty impressive. The engineer, John Morrow, is, and I got to confess, I'm having trouble reading because I had one eye done, and the other eye is still on a graduated lens, and I really have a lot of trouble reading. So the Morrow is doing the drawings for the bathrooms, and looking at the pricing. I don't know. The septic is being done by land planning. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's the name.
And one of the things is that they are going to be approaching, we're asking Dennis to get us a letter because one of those articles is going to sunset. And because of all of the delays and everything, they're not ready. So he's going to give us a letter to extend the sunset.
Okay.
Investigating the dock. Peter wasn't really up to date on that, and he said that he'd have Dennis let me know, and I didn't get anything on that. So the only other thing was the extension on the sunset date.
Okay, yeah, no, that's just a real simple. I know I hear somebody. Did somebody want to make a comment? Any questions about Jim's report?
I think it
The
was
Lions
just
Club.
background noise, John.
Okay, okay. No, I thought I heard somebody. Cisco Homestead, Justin.
Sure. I haven't heard back from Ray, though I did last email her, I think it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard back from her since. I know the sunset date is coming up. I'm anticipating that Ray will ask for a extension on that because I haven't heard of any actual progress that took place over the last year. Ray's had some family situations going on as well as COVID over the last year with the COVID going on over the last year, so couldn't get in to do much of the work. So I'm anticipating a response that involves an extension, but I don't have that formally yet.
Okay, so it looks like for the annual town meeting in May, if it's in May, we'll need a sunset for the Lions and for the Cisco project. Okay,
I have a point of order.
yes.
You remember when you were in school and you got caught chewing gum? And the teacher.
I never did it, so no, I can't relate.
All right, well, the first thing they asked you is if you brought some for everyone. And I'd just like to point out that Ken Holberger didn't bring wine for everyone. I
Uh-oh.
want to know what's up with that.
It's at your door. Didn't you hear the knock?
Reminds me of Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Spicoli having pizza delivered in class.
That's the beautiful, the one good thing about Zoom meetings.
A little more relaxed. Okay. Emergency rental assistance. I know I talked to Joanne about this briefly. I apologize. I did not get a better detailed answer. The money, the $100,000 that was from the CARES Act is about depleted, and they were going to start using CPA funds. And that was within the last week or so. And they were just, trying to figure out how the payments were going to be handled. So I think that project's going to be up in a month. So there's not going to be a whole lot of money that's going to be spent from CPA on this initial project that's CPA funded. So
John,
that's
is my contact Bruce Spinney?
Bruce Spinney, and I failed to call him or to without Joanne. You don't realize how much Joanne does. You do not realize how much Joanne does. She keeps things organized, keeps me looking straight ahead, and reminds me of all the things that I haven't done. And with her being sick, it really has kind of put a crimp in things getting done that normally just happen. So I tell her all the time, I appreciate all she does because Joanne really works hard for us.
Oh, agreed. Can I go back to Justin's comment? My understanding is that sunsets the end of February.
Right.
So I should be asking him to get a letter to us before then, but then again, it can't go to town meeting before then. So how is that handled?
I think we're not sure what they want to do with that program, how they're going to handle that program. I think with the political change, how things are going to go in Washington, nobody really knows how that's going to be handled. So I think we were trying to make sure that we had money because they were the Affordable Housing Trust was talking about a couple of projects that they were wanting to do. And so we wanted to make sure that we had the money to at least give them some kind of seed money. And I think one of them was 25 Worcester Street, which the Affordable Housing Trust, I guess Bruce could speak best to that. And then also with this Perry Hill proposal, that he could speak to that as well. So, again, that's my fault for not putting two and two together and inviting Bruce to the meeting. So I will email Bruce and just ask him for an update, and then I can email everybody his update.
Well, do you want me to do that, John?
What?
You want me to do that?
If you don't mind, sure.
No, well, I have it now, so why don't you let me do it? But just so I don't sound like any more of an idiot than I already am.
Okay, and just apologize to him that I failed to do it for tonight's meeting.
Oh, yeah, you go right under the bus.
Okay, just don't back it up.
This sunsets at the end of February. So is he out of options at the end of February?
Right.
Can I jump in?
Is that Jen Thomas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my understanding is it's only supposed to be a short-term program. It's only supposed to go for 3 months. So unless the CARES Act change or emergency funding has changed, I don't think there really is. I don't think the program is designed to go past 3 months.
Yeah, and I can add to that with my memory of what we discussed when this was brought to town meeting as well. My memory was that it was going to have a sunset in February because of the short time frame that they had planned the program for and contracted the program for. And if they did need more money, we would not be able to extend it because it sunsets before the town meeting date. and they would need to ask for more in a new, as a new project. That was my memory of the situation.
Mine as well.
I,
That's what I thought too, but I just want to make sure there wasn't anything screwy about that. I'll take care of that, John.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, let's see, recreation ADA projects. Since Jen Anderson is on or included in the meeting, whatever. Do you want, Jen, would you mind giving us an update?
Yeah, I don't know if Joanne forwarded my email to you today, so I'm happy to reread that if you did not see it, or to be able to say it on the record. But most the parking spaces have been created where they've been needed, like Silver Lake and Riverview Park. Most walkways to the amenities and playgrounds have been installed. Access within the playground to the structures are mainly complete. And the largest portions remaining are redoing the main walkway at Norcross, installing the perimeter path at Airport, and creating a curb cut and a parking space at Perry. And plan to complete the entirety of the project in the spring.
Good. Okay, so
Excellent.
I'm trying to take real quick notes for me. That Airport, you still have a perimeter walk,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the next?
The redoing the main walkway at Norcross.
Why is that have to be redone?
The original thought was and plan was that they would be able to take out the middle section to be able to regrade it to meet the slope requirements, but that's not the case. We have to start from scratch. So
Okay, so it's a grade issue. It's okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Like you've made a lot of progress getting that completed.
There's been a lot of progress. Yeah, little things to still deal with, and some small pieces, but a large portion is complete.
Great. Okay. Thank you. It is 7:45. Is Ray in the meeting? I don't see him.
No, he's not.
I can fill a few seconds of time with a question.
Okay.
On the weights and measures, remind me, was the plan to have that, is it plan of record to have that moved from the municipal center to the library when the library is complete?
That was the initial plan, and I just proposed that to the chairman of the historical commission. Since it's in place now at the municipal center, did we want to leave it there, or did the commission want to move it to the library? So that's going to be on our agenda, which is coming up in 2 weeks. So I don't have a specific answer for that, but
Okay.
That decision needs to be made so that also we can just close out that account, because all the work's been done and the bills have been paid. So it's ready to be closed out.
And
any
John,
other-
can I ask a question about, I missed the section about the assignment for the ADA project.
Yes.
And so I didn't
That's
hear-
basically all that was, is because we don't have anything in Joanne's records of any individual member being responsible for 2 different projects, and Kristen is going to be the point person. So, and that's, kind of the way these work, is that if a recreation project, typically it's going to be the recreation representative that's going to be the point person, but we just wanted to make that formal.
No, I just wanted to make sure it was a case. I mean, we entered a contract with you guys. There was an agreement we signed, and she
Mhm.
was listed as that person on that paper. So I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that was
Okay.
what you
I'm
guys
just-
agreed on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it could just be an oversight that it's in there, but just it's on my list of things to ask. So, and then for the rental assistance, I'm sure we've discussed that. Jim agreed to do that as well. So, and both of these projects are almost finished, so there's not a whole lot that they haven't already done to be the conduit for those projects. So it's just more a formality of making sure we had that information included in the minutes. Anybody else have any questions, comments? I guess we can start talking about the Whitney Park project even without Ray. So my first question will be to Jen. Have you had any discussions with Ray about this?
No, I have not had any contact from him regarding this.
Okay. Do you know the project, part of the project that I guess impacts you the most is that they want to relocate the Perry Hill Park to Whitney Park. Let's assume that everybody's amenable to this. What has to happen? Do you know what has to happen to make that possible?
I mean, I don't. It's obviously frustrating with the work that we've done there the past couple of years with updates and ADA and, you know, do I go forward with making a curb cut in a parking space and, you know, additional expenses? And so, you know, I just happened to hear that, you know, I watched that meeting after the fact. So I was a little, you know, I think taken aback by that without being, you know, part of the conversation. You know, and we have been trying to make progress there. And I've been working with different, between DPW and engineering and such as to what can happen in that vacant lot next door. And I intended to do some outreach to the neighborhood this spring. But COVID kind of limited that. And we were, you know, pushing for the super park. So I wanted to focus on that and as well. But my question would be if we've heard from AHT about this and their thoughts on that property. I know they just, you know, gained 25 Worcester. So I didn't know if you guys have heard anything from them about that.
I have not. And then another question is, are you, because Perry Hill, that little neighborhood, New England Village, is fairly small. Is the playground that you have there, is that suitable? Because it's from the CPC, from the town meeting last June, I guess. They made it loud and clear that they wanted neighborhood parks rather than a large super park. Is the park that's currently at Perry Hill, do you feel like it has the equipment and whatever is needed to make that a neighborhood park that meets the needs of the children in that neighborhood at this time?
Well, I think what we have there immediately is great. And that was going to be part of the outreach and what we could do with that, you know, dilapidated vacant space next door. Was it an expansion of the playground? Is it making a green space? Was it, you know, volleyball courts? Is it a dog park? Is it, you know, to be able to get their actual from that neighborhood's feedback? I mean, when we replaced the main structure 2 years ago, expanded the swings and such. And so, you know, all the kids were out there, you know, and happy and excited to see what we were doing. And so I think we made a lot of progress there. And I just was going, you know, I wanted to move forward with hearing direct feedback from them going forward.
Hey, John, I'm sorry. Can I make a
Go ahead.
comment? Jen?
Yes.
I just, for the record, I'm opposed to anything that has not gone through Rec Commission and the Rec Director. We just completed an open space and recreation plan in which one of the things on the plan was that more open spaces like open fields are needed. So I'm not quite understanding why we would move a park one block over and take away open space when our rec plan that we just completed said that that was one of the important things that we needed more of. So Whitney Park kind of serves that purpose. So I'm not on board with anything unless the Rec Commission is on board with it, because, and clearly I would love a super park. I don't think a super park is appropriate in that location because it's a neighborhood. It's not a destination. There's not enough parking, so forth. So I just wanted to get my 2 cents in, so thank you guys. I have a terrible headache, so I'm gonna log off.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks,
guys.
Feel
Jen.
better.
Feel better.
John, I think that's what my main concern is placing any park where Whitney Park is because of the, the truck volume and the traffic volume that's there, that's completely surrounding that facility. So I just don't know how you make it,
Right.
where safe for kids to play there.
Chairman,
John,
What?
Jen can't see what was going on, but Kristen's been trying to,
Okay.
have her-
I saw she just, she raised her hand where I could see. Kristen, go ahead.
once Ray shows up, I wanted to discuss, what we've been talking about with him. So I've kind of refrained waiting for him.
Yeah.
But I just want to remind everyone, when he first came to us a couple meetings back and proposed this, like Jen said, I was caught off guard too in that meeting because it was the first I had heard of it. And out of respect, I would have thought if you're discussing any kind of community park, that you would have collaborated with the recreation director in town to just throw ideas off each other, tell her what you're thinking of doing, find out, like Jen said, both Jens said, we did complete an open space and recreation plan that identified goals from the town and priorities. We have done community outreach. From what Jen Anderson's told me, there hasn't been any of that communication. And I think we really need to push him to first talk to her before we approve anything that they're doing, because we could be doubling our efforts on this. We want to make sure we do what the town needs. And I don't understand why they haven't had a discussion with her.
Yeah, no, hopefully he'll be on soon and can answer those questions.
Yeah, and I think just getting the feedback, I don't want to take anything obviously away from affordable housing, but I know they just got 25 Worcester, so maybe let's see some progress with that. And as AHT saying that they want this, want that location. I think that would be helpful to hear from
In the
them.
minutes at the from the last meeting, it did say, because Bruce participated in that meeting, Bruce Spinney, and I don't know if he's the chairman or I think he is of
He
that
is.
committee, but he did say that in the minutes it said that, because I don't remember specifically, that the Affordable Housing Trust is in favor of looking at that property for affordable housing. So there has, I guess, been a conversation with, let me see. Okay, Bruce Benny, chairman of the Affordable Housing Trust, stated the trust is very interested in the land and would do the needed survey work. So it sounds like they've had a conversation, or at least the beginnings of conversations regarding that being affordable.
I didn't get that impression that they had a conversation about the work that Ray was talking about. My impression was that in our discussion of in-kind possibilities, Bruce Spinney did say that that was something the Affordable Housing Trust has done before, and they would be in favor of doing the survey work to, be an in-kind contribution toward the project. That was, and he was speaking for himself. He did call that out. Rather, they didn't take any votes on that as the trust. That was my recollection of that.
Okay, I'm just reading the minutes. Bruce Spinney, chairman
I
of the
understand.
Affordable Housing Trust, stated the trust is very interested in land and would do the needed survey work. So that's all I'm saying. It didn't come across as a surprise to him. Like that was the first time he'd heard it.
But assuming that that parcel is used for affordable housing and everybody agrees that that's the best use for that space, since there is a park currently there that's going to be taken away, would recreation have first right of refusal on the property, right in that center section? Or how does that work in terms of who has priority to use that alternate space?
That's something that I
Property are
don't,
we talking about
know.
right now?
Whitney Park.
All right, because we were just talking about 125 Worcester Street, so I was confused. Okay.
But that's why I asked Jen if she knew the process, because if this is Perry Hill is part of recreation's domain and responsibility to maintain and upkeep that park, I would think that recreation would have to have some either vote by the commission to say we relinquish this to the Affordable Housing Trust, since the Affordable Housing Trust is separate, what kind of legalities need to be involved to do that. So that's all I was just trying to find out. I would think that's probably a rare occurrence that you deaccession parkland. So even if you're planning to kind of replace it with something else.
John, I think it begs the question that Jen and Kristen are making, is that if he's talking to affordable housing, that the rec commission is a major player there. And if they've been shut out, I don't see how any kind of meaningful discussion can take place unless they're included.
Right. No, I mean, that's because I know I did, and it's in the minutes that because I don't remember very well, but I think I did. It says, let's see, that he should talk to recreation. John suggested Ray speak to the recreation department, specifically Jen Anderson. So that's.
And I had asked him that 2 meetings ago as well.
And that's
There it
critical, especially if this is their asset. So.
Yeah, I think it's just understanding the order of steps and who has authority where and how how these steps, whatever, work.
Right.
So just try to learning process, I think, for us.
Sure.
Well, it looks like Ray came and then left.
Did I hear a motion to adjourn? I'm kidding.
I didn't see him pop in. Was it just a second ago?
Yeah,
It says he's on the call right now.
Oh, maybe he's not in that room.
There
Oh,
he
he
is.
is?
Oh, there he is.
I see him.
I don't know how he got in. He's listed as a panelist.
Ray, if you want to
You're right.
turn on your mic.
Turn it on or turn it off?
On. Sorry.
It's on.
You were muted. Sorry.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
We started without you, and so I don't know if we should start with you making a whatever you wanted to talk about, or start with questions that we had.
That's up to you guys, however you want to do it. I mean, I know I had, I talked about this before, about the, about Whitney Park and Perry Hill Park. You had asked me at that point to find out about both of those pieces of property. They are both owned by the town since the 1800s, and but they are both in I think it's Chapter 97, which is a designation that is through the state legislature that designates those pieces as parkland only, and there's nothing else that can go on those pieces of property. So I had planned on petitioning the state through David Meridian to remove the Chapter 97 designation for Perry Hill Park so that we can put affordable housing there, and keeping Whitney Park in the Chapter 97. So I have contacted an engineering company, actually the engineering company that did Roney Park, for a proposal, put together a scope of work for Whitney Park, and they will be getting back to me. They should have had it tonight by 5 o'clock, but I apologize. I do not have that approval. Have that proposal. So I wanted to bring the proposal before you guys and see if we can get it on the, fill out all the paperwork and do all the stuff that we did for Roney Park, and then get it on the town warrant in May. So
I guess the first question that I have is, you haven't contacted Recreation, or have you?
no, I haven't contacted anybody, and the reason that I haven't contacted anybody is because I don't have a proposal, and I didn't have this Chapter 97 stuff came up.
S-
And I was kind of working on that. So no, I have not contacted Recreation at all.
Okay, so
No.
this is Sandy, and it's Article 97, and it's not an easy thing to get something out of Article 97 without doing an in-kind type of replacement of it. It has to go through the state legislature, which you've said you petition, has to pass by 2/3 in the state legislature for that piece of property to come out of Article 97. The first question I would have is double checking that it is under Article 97. Article 97 protects any property that was donated or given or purchased for the town for exclusive rights for open space, recreation. There's a whole list of things. I've just dealt with Article 97 on several projects. So I wouldn't go too far down the road until you get those legalities really checked out. Because it's Article 97 has become somewhat controversial, and people are really up in arms about all the property being taken out of Article 97. So it's just something that doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just, would look to see a little bit more information about it, and what is going to be put into Article 97 to offset the land taken out of Article 97. So there's a whole process there. So my only kind of comment is that needs to be looked at pretty closely, and you really need to get an attorney involved in that.
Yeah, and the plan there was, it really has, taking it out of 97 really doesn't have anything to do with Whitney Park, but it does have to do with the Affordable Housing Committee. So I would be working with them, with the Affordable Housing Committee on that portion of it. And if they were the ones to decide that they wanted to, remove it, I have had discussions with them, but if they decided they wanted to remove it and put in affordable housing there, then that's what they would do. I would work along with them. It really doesn't have anything to do with Whitney Park, other than us taking the existing playground equipment from there and putting it at Whitney Park.
Okay, I think the concern that a lot of us have had is that there have not been any discussions with Recreation, and this is part of their responsibility to
Yep.
maintain this park. And even though this is all just discussions and proposals, I would think that you would want to hear from Recreation and involve them and include them in this.
Yes, I totally agree.
But from day one, not when you say, okay, this is all done and all we need is your okay. I think that they should be a player because as we just discussed, we've just funded an open space and recreation plan, and one of the priorities is open space. So you're taking Whitney Park, which is currently open space, and then making it a developed property. So that is one piece. The other piece is we've just spent money to upgrade Perry Hill to make it handicap accessible, ADA compliant. And if, that all this needs to be done in tandem, otherwise we're going to either double our efforts or we're going to lose assets that we've spent money on. And we don't want to waste what few dollars that we have on something that would get bulldozed up.
Yep. No, I agree. Totally.
John, Jen Anderson here. Am I able to ask a question?
Go ahead. Sure.
Ray, Jen Anderson, Recreation Director. So thank you I wanted to add, that's what I was trying to understand, kind of the steps of, the order of how steps are taken and who can take them, and trying to understand if someone just from the public can file for Article 97, but it sounds like you did say you'd be working with the AHT and they would be going for that. But I guess
Right.
trying to understand how that committee can still just decide to try to file that without, either town backing or other, recreation backing, or trying to understand how that,
Right. So Perry Hill Park is in a thought process. It's not something that's going to happen next year. it's probably something it's not going to happen for a few years. One, excuse me, one of the things that the way this has to operate is you have to go before the Board of Selectmen. You have to get them to approve you submitting an application or whatever it is to take it out of Article 97. Then in tune with that, the Housing Authority or the Affordable Housing Committee has to have a plan for what's going to go on there. And they have to have a developer that is going to be able to produce the affordable houses. So when I first went to them, I said to them, I'd like to do a project at Whitney Park, and I'd like to take the playground equipment from Perry Hill Park. And I think Perry Hill Park would make a great affordable housing piece of property. The area is surrounded by apartments, and everyone knows that Grafton needs affordable housing. So that's really, other than me investigating it and finding out that it's in 97 and things like that, and in determining how many apartments we could get on that piece of property, that's as far as that has gone. I think it's a great idea. Housing committee thought it was a great idea. It's not something that's going to happen in 6 months, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through to get to that point. So that's more in a thought process than it is in anything else.
Mr. Chairman, through you.
Go ahead.
Can I just ask Ray, then what's your line of thinking? It sounded as if you were looking to get something on the warrant this go around. So
well, I would like to get the design and engineering for Whitney Park at the May town meeting, and that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight is to talk about that. If you guys tell me that that's not something that can happen, and we have to wait till October or next May or whatever it is, then I want to make sure that I go through the normal process through CPC to acquire that approval and the funds associated.
One of the things in all the applications for CPC is, what other town boards or committees support you. And I think this one is the big gaping hole is that recreation. If this is going to be a new park, recreation needs to be a member of whatever discussions, even if you're raising the money, even if you're doing all this, the work, the planning, they're going to be the ones that this is under their care and responsibility to oversee the programs and maintain it and add a line item in their budget. So, I mean, I think that's why it's critical that recreation is included in all this, all the discussions for this.
Okay,
Because-
and again, I don't have any problem with that at all. When we did the first park at Bridge Street, we had the Historical Society involved with us. We didn't have recreation involved with this. They really didn't have anything to do with it. So as of this meeting, I know that I need to get recreation and get on their agenda and explain the project and everything like that. So it's not a problem, not at all.
No, because I think that's especially if for Jen and for her to have all the information that you have for you to share back and forth with what the plans are and that what her thoughts are. I think that would make this a much stronger project if you're both coming to the table rather than just you.
Yeah, no problem.
Chairman Stevens.
Yes.
I would just like to ask Ray, for the Whitney Park project that you're envisioning, that you're going to have plans drawn up for and consulting done on, like, where did you get your data as far as, what you wanted to put there? Like, where did you get that feedback from?
So I put together the only reason that I put together a scope of work was to get a proposal for the engineering. That's the only thing. Nothing has been decided as to what goes there. The only thing that we have discussed as Engine Company 2 Association is that we want it to be a community park,
Okay.
not just a children's park. It would be a community park. That's actually as far as we have gone. So I have spoken with the landscape architect and things like that, and that's kind of the proposal that I'm getting. And they'd be including, ideas from parks that they have built before. So
Okay.
that's really where we are.
Okay, so that's where I think we really would like to have you come do a presentation to the Recreation Commission as well, because we did a lot of this research and community outreach and identified needs and goals and priorities when we were doing all the work for what we hope to be a community park behind the library. So there was a lot of work done. We don't want to see that wasted. And if we could partner with you, to get those priorities done. Excuse me.
John, if question
Yes.
from Jen here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we just need to look at this. It's two different projects. I think before we were all under the impression it was, Perry Hill to Whitney Park, but it sounds like tonight, Ray, it's more, Whitney Park is going to be its own standalone project that would be seeking funding for it now. And the Perry Hill is another, right? Entity. And then do you think, Ray, I guess it would be, like Roney Park. I think you guys are maintaining for, 10 years before the town takes it over. Do you see Whitney Park happening the same way?
Absolutely. Yes, we actually signed the same agreement. And I know we signed an agreement for 10 years down at Roney Park. And when 10 years is up, we will sign another 10-year agreement to maintain that park. And
So I think that's one of my, sorry, Ray.
That's the plan on Whitney Park also.
Yeah, so I think one of my only initial hesitations with that is because if the playground would still be there, who has that, what they would need to maintain that structure,
Yep. No, we would, again, that's one thing that the Engine Company 2 Association is big on, is that, we know that we can build parks. We did one. It's beautiful, and it gets maintained on a weekly basis. And one of the things that at Whitney Park is that we want it to be maintained on a weekly basis, and that'll be done. So there's a lot more things to maintain at Whitney Park than there is at Roney Park. But station's right there.
No, I think more specifically just understanding what it takes for playground equipment and where it's being purchased from and documentation that has to occur, those sorts of
Oh, yes.
things.
Yep.
Okay, great.
I apologize for having a coughing fit, but that's all I
that's
wanted
okay.
to say. I hope that we can work together before you move forward.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I'll be honest with you. I never thought of contacting the recreation department because I don't know, we did Roney Park and that's really not a place to, for recreation. It's a place to sit and
Yep, but we do passive recreation too, open
yeah,
space, fields, trails, things of that nature.
yeah,
So
no, that's great. Because to have another partner on on this park, which is going to be a considerably larger and more a bigger extent of a park, that would be great.
we've been talking a lot about spaces for seniors, with benches, specific kinds of benches that work for people, having chessboards, like things like that, community places to go.
We're actually thinking the same. So what we talked about is a walking path around the entire around the entire park with exercise stations, and then places with triangle sails for people to sit down and have shrubs around. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, there's a place there's a nice beach down in Marathon, Florida, which I absolutely love. And it's got a park kind of like this, and it's really, really nice. And the other thought is, you know, the Rose Kennedy Parkway. If you've ever been on the Rose Kennedy Parkway in the middle of the city, it is relaxing. Has places for people to sit, and, you know, all ages. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for all ages, you know, so.
And we have an active garden club, you know, as far as gardens for smelling and for butterflies and things like that could line your paths. So I think by, like, you know, we only have so many of these types of spaces in town that we can develop. So if we could all work together, you know, that's the underlying theme here is we don't want to have separate entities working on these things. We want to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally in favor of it. Yes, absolutely.
I'll say again that your proposal for what you're thinking about doing for Whitney Park, and just based on what you said so far, is something that I'm, you know, fully in favor of. I think that will be a nice, you know, location, nice thing to do. And I think what's going to come down to is this ask, from my understanding, is the design and engineering work. And then once that's done and you have a better concrete proposal for the town, you'll come back and another town meeting vote, and we get ideally a positive vote to actually implement the design. So I think the design will be the hard part of this, and getting that right. But I do think you have the efforts you guys have done on Rooney Park have shown, and the town is very appreciative of that for sure. And I think that in and of itself is going to go a long way in getting both this first part passed and the next part passed. And the communication that you're going to be having with the Recreation Commission and department will help make the proposal to the town all that much stronger. So, thank you.
And Justin, on the planning board end of things, you know, my ideas, and again, based on the design that we come up with, is that I wanted to put parallel parking around the park itself. And so cutting in the granite curbs and putting in parallel parking. So that's, you know, that's just another thought.
Yep.
When you look at Whitney Park, you see the grass area, and I think there's one tree left. But Whitney Park is actually bigger than that, and it actually comes down to a triangle, almost down to Washington Mills, where the old Second Baptist Church was. I'm dating myself because you probably know it's where Washington Mills has their garden down there.
The Karate Church.
The Karate Church, yes, the Karate Church. So, so there's areas down there for parking and everything like that. But, you know, I think just a great community park would be, it's a great spot for it. It's a, you know, and working with other agencies would be fantastic.
Ray, have you, excuse me, have you had any conversations with Washington Mills about their trucks coming in and out of there?
No, I haven't yet. And the only reason I haven't done that yet, Jim, is I wanted the Affordable Housing Committee is doing a survey of Perry Hill and Whitney Park for me. And once I get that, then we can actually lay out where the extent of Whitney Park is. And then to talk to Peter and you know, talk to him about the trucks and truck traffic and stuff like that. We're definitely not going to try to, you know, hurt his business, that's for sure, or his truck traffic. So.
And kids are going to be able to slide down the pole at Station 2?
Once we put the second floor addition on, yes.
Jim is first in line.
If you've never slid down one of those poles, it's not as easy as it looks.
Okay, any other questions, comments for Ray?
Do you have an idea on what the dollar amount asked would be yet? I know you don't have the proposal in hand, but I just wasn't sure if you had a ballpark.
No, I don't, Justin. I really don't know. The dollar amount for the park is based on final design and things like that. Park equipment is in my Boston greatest Boston accent, wicked expensive, and but there's a lot of things that you can put in the park that are not expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My question was primarily in relation to the engineering and design work itself.
I will have that proposal. I hope to have it tomorrow morning. And I don't mind sending it around to everybody to get it as an idea, to get an idea of what it is. I really don't know. When you get landscape architects and engineers together, it usually costs a lot of money.
If you could send that to Joanne,
Yep, I will.
and then Joanne can send it to all of us when
I will.
she's back at work. But I would think, based on our conversation tonight, is that to go to town meeting in May with this is too soon. So for you to have an application in February, I don't think, Jen, you can correct me. I think that you guys have a lot to talk about before you put a proposal forward, or what are your thoughts?
I think there's a lot of information we can share. We spent a lot of, fair amount of money and a significant amount of time with reaching out to people with what they wanted to see in the park behind the library, and accommodating all ages in there, and have that design and as well. And so, there's a lot of parallel to this, but it's trying to figure out if it's, the right location, and that the commission, that we would be on board, overtaking it, at some point, and that, we can make it happen with all parties,
Okay.
Here's the thing, and it's Roney Park took 3 years. I know it didn't seem like it took 3 years, but it actually took 3 years from from the day that we first cleared some of the area so that we could get an engineering study on that piece of property. This project will probably take 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So if we don't do it in May and we come back in October or whatever, I can promise you that with the cooperation of the town and working with all of our other partners, that it will get done. And that's no matter how long it takes. I'm just kind of aggressive, and as far as being, I'd like to get the thing, in design in June and have it out to bid in October. And I'm used to building buildings, so that's why it's like that. But if it takes a little longer and there's more input, I'm all in favor of it.
Okay.
There's
Well, I think,
project. Sorry, John.
no, go ahead.
There's project grant opportunities too, Ray, that may be, help cover the cost of, your planning phase. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I'm happy to share some resources.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's another really good point, with that Jen is an excellent resource, and that can provide you a wealth of information, whether it's design or the input from the residents, the people that will be using it, since they've done so much of this already for Super Park and for the open space plan and recreation plan. So I think that it would make your project even better, I think. And that's what a lot of what CPC that we do, is that we try to help people with projects come forward with their best project, because we don't want to have a project that you spend a lot of time on and then at town meeting, people shoot it down for whatever reason. So this way you're getting all the feedback well ahead of time and you're addressing all the issues that people might have, so that the project is going to be as strong as possible and will succeed at town meeting. Because that's our goal, is if we support a project, we really want to see it approved at town meeting. We don't want anybody to have to spend a lot of time only just to be told no by town meeting because we didn't ask this or we didn't do that. So we're looking out for you, believe it or not. We're trying.
No, great. No, I really appreciate all the help and everything. This was, I'm glad Jim, got me on the agenda and it's a really good meeting and, just we'll keep moving and
that's just it. We really appreciate what you've done with Roney Park. And I think, this will be, and again, we all want it done yesterday.
Yeah.
That it's,
yeah.
and like you say, it's going to take at least 3 years just
Yeah.
from funding and planning and contracts. And it just takes time. And that's unfortunate that we can't just make it happen overnight, but we don't want you to get a false start. We want you to start when everything's, all your ducks are in a row, and then we'll go both feet forward.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks, seeing you, Ray.
See you, Jim.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Ray.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I think it's
Motion
Jim's
to
turn.
adjourn?
Second.
I put down my paper. All those in favor, let me see. Sandy,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Paul,
Aye.
who else is here? Ken. Chris, is Ken here?
Yes, he is. He's on mute.
Sleep.
He woke up, but
Somebody
he's
wake
on
him up.
mute.
Kristen.
Hi.
I
He
still
just
haven't
said
found
aye.
Here.
I've lost my,
Did you get Justin?
I think I did. I think I started with Justin, didn't I?
You started with Sandy, but next two are Jim and you.
Oh, Jim. Jim's the one that
All right.
moved. So Jim's got to be a yes. So here's my list. Jim, I, and John, I. So all those in favor voted aye. All those opposed, there are none. I declare the meeting adjourned.